So Ken Starr was just on the show. If you're over 19, kind of a big deal. A couple decades ago, Ken Starr was at the very center of the news cycle, every news cycle for years, one of the most polarizing and talked about people in history at the time anyway. And then he went dark for about 2 decades, and now he's back to remind us of what the Clintons were really like. Mark Steyn was there then, he's here now, and he never forgets anything. Mark Steyn, what do you make of that? What do you make? Here, Ken Starr is back, and we have another special counsel in progress now, 20 years later. Did nobody learn the lesson?
No, that's true, and Bob Mueller gets a much better press than Ken Starr did. As you know, he's the most genial fellow. He's got that boyish smile, and he gets on with everybody. People poured a bucket of mud over him day after day after day for years, and when you scraped it off, he's like he was just now, beaming. Ken Starr, same as always, taking it. I don't think it was a good idea. I don't think the idea of an independent counsel is a good idea. But I think Ken Starr's point is actually more important, that the bargain the Democrats made with Clinton corruption back in the 90s was not actually in the interest of American public service, but actually not in the interest of the Democrat Party either. You know, it always worked out well for the Clintons. After impeachment, Hillary got a Senate seat in a state she'd never lived in, while poor old Al Gore couldn't even get dragged along the over the finish line in the presidential election. The Clintons worked out for the Clintons and nobody else.
But doesn't it, I mean, we only have a minute left, and this is a deep question, but it did work out. They skated on everything. They beat a bunch of legal charges, and they got incredibly rich. Why aren't they happy? They're clearly so unhappy. Why?
Because I think it's never enough. The whole point of them is just to get rich and get richer and keep winning. Bob Smith, who was my senator in New Hampshire at the time, he said after the impeachment trial, he said, he's won, he always wins, let's move on. And then suddenly they didn't win, and they can't stand it, and they want to keep coming back, whether it's Hillary or Chelsea or whoever's next. It's the winning, it's the money, it's never enough.
No, it never is. And you think maybe you get to a certain age, you get rich enough, you'd be happy, but it's eluded them. It's kind of poignant. Mark, great to see you, as always.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.
Amazingly, we're out of time. We'll be back tomorrow, the show that's the sworn enemy, and we mean it, of lying, pomposity, smugness, and especially groupthink.